Today we bring dynamics into play. Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back at our routing tutorial. Today we will talk about dynamic routing, which is a great extension to static routing, and let's dive just into the code. If you remember the code from the last episode, then you see that I have extended it by a single method and a new rule on the right side. So this is about dynamic routing. The code all stays the same, there is no other change. So static routing still works as it did in the last episode. What happens here and what is dynamic routing? Dynamic routing comes into play when you don't know the actual path right up front at the time of programming. So what does it mean? For example, if you want to serve a file system content and the file system may change, you start creating folders or you drop folders, then you have dynamic folder structure and how to deal with that. The trick is dynamic routing. So let me show this in the example. We still have our root path and we still have the static routing as it was in the last episode. But if you extend the request path by the word, in my example, it's an arbitrary example, you can use any string you want, then you will end up here because it's the longest matching path. Do you remember the rule from the last time? But see, the answer here is a Java class. It's not a string like we had in the last episode. So let's go into this Java class and look what happens there. As you can see, this Java class is a resource itself. And what makes it a resource? Because it has addPath and addGet. That's an interesting thing. So what happens here? Actually, the path could be longer than just the word in that you have seen. So if your path is, this is the path in, it will go here, and then it will continue with its matching algorithm. So for example, if your path ends with the word French, then it will know this is the longest matching path, and it will return this string. Where's the dynamic? The dynamic is that this code here can do whatever it wants. For example, it can look up the local file system, it can look up a database, it can make a REST call intern, it can do whatever it likes. And for what's the most interesting point, it can return any resource it likes. So not just this one. You can have a hierarchy of resources and return whatever you like. So for example, if you write a file system server, you can return a resource for a root folder, for a drive, a resource for a directory, or a resource for a file, or whatever you like. So thanks to Java coming into play at this level, you have complete control what to return. And since that algorithm is dynamic, the outcome is dynamic because whatever you return will continue in the matching algorithm and it can do whatever it likes. So as you can see, dynamic routing is rather easy once you start with a simple example. One thing you need to know, there is no addPath at a sub-resource, only at a root resource. So don't try to write addPath here. This will just confuse the system, because if you have an addPath here, it will be a root resource. So the computer will try to compare this one with this one. This is not what you want. Simply stick with the design rule. Either it is a root resource, then give it a path, or it will be used as a sub-resource, then don't have addPath here. Still, certainly use addPath if you need it here. Actually, you don't need it. You can remove it. But we want it here. So the rule to learn is Use add path only where you actually want to have it. This was part 2 of the routing tutorial. Now you learned how to do dynamic routing using Java code, which is really great and brings big power to your program. And in the next episode, we will learn regex routing, and then we will put everything together. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you like to see more videos, subscribe to my channel. So stay safe, and as always, party on! The 70s, this is how my childhood looked like. Oh my god, it totally smells like dust.